Assalamu alaikum, Chill fam. Welcome to Nikah and Chill. I'm so excited for this episode because I have a new
Let's
co-host.
go.
Abbas is here. Abbas, how you feeling?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing really well, man. Really blessed to be here with you, Sister Kalima.
Yes, I'm so excited. So, as you guys know or may not know, I'm in Los Angeles. I found him through a friend, literally, and he right over in Oakland. You right from the Bay.
Yeah, yes,
This
sir.
is crazy. Like, I wish we could. We're gonna have some episodes together, you guys. We're not gonna do this virtual thing forever. The podcast started in 2020, but I'm just so happy that we're not too close, not too far. I also wanted to add that you're a poet. So some people may know you from Lighthouse Mosque over in Oakland. You
Yeah.
do once a month poetry night. I just absolutely love that.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So we're gonna have poetry night actually, February 22nd of this year.
Okay.
In 3 weeks, 3 weeks from today will be our next poetry. It's every other month at Lighthouse. All are open and welcome to come, inshallah.
Yay.
And it's beautiful because it's an opportunity for Muslims to share their thoughts, their feelings. We hear
Yeah.
about different stories, different narratives, and it's kind of a check-in. It's almost like an emotional check-in for folks too.
Oh, we need
So
that.
yeah.
More mosques doing like community like get together things because it really is. I mean, I'm here at Isla Mosque,
Shout out
and
to Islam, mashallah.
yes, Isla, like when I tell you guys, like I mean, they have revert night, they have youth night, they have so many different levels of Islamic study night, like so many different, also Black Islamic study, like all different. And if you guys follow them on Instagram, you would also see Isla_LA. You will definitely see just the type of just moves that they're making, the different guest speakers. So a lot of you guys' favorite celebrity sort of public figure Muslims that you guys watch definitely make their way, and they always sort of step in and speak. Shouts out to Imam Jihad, incredible Imam. And yeah, like every single event always has free food. Every single Juma is either free hijabs or abayas or like grocery. A lot of times we get donated, especially during Ramadan. It's popping during Ramadan at my mosque. And I just love community, right? When I tell you, when I go to Juma, my entire energy changes. It's a And this is another reason why I'm like, I feel like it's time for me to kind of transition, inshallah, to a Muslim country, or even just for a couple of months, not saying that I might live, but I would love to live there. But I've just found that I love the energy of my community so much that I don't want it once a week. I like being
Yeah.
around it, and it's
Alhamdulillah.
like you said reset, or just it fulfills you in a way that it's just, yeah.
No, alhamdulillah. Like that's another beautiful thing. I want more Muslim brothers and sisters to travel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you need to see the world. You need to see Muslims
Yeah.
in other country if you haven't left the States.
Yeah.
Just
That's
just to
the
stay
thing
very
too.
connected.
Yeah, like I feel like mosques in general, Western mosque, but specifically Black Muslim mosque, we're not taught, like, I think the more immigrant mosques they are like reminded, like, hey, when's the last time you've been back home? But a lot of like mosques that have either 50% reverts or like just most they were born here in America, there is this like there's lack of conversation of like, have you made Hajj? Or I think there's a conversation there, but it's more about, did you do your duty of going to Saudi and
Right.
going to Mecca, instead of, have you traveled and seen other Muslim countries? Because going to Muslim countries, it just really opens up your, just hearing the event 5 times a day, like,
Right.
does something to you. And it's so nice. Like, I mean, even for me, like, even UAE, which is more of a Europeanized Muslim country, which I loved because they spoke English primarily. So I felt like it was a great way for me to maneuver as someone who talks a lot. And so I was like, let me, even there, where a woman is more respected, the more modest she is, even
Sure.
there. And here, LA particularly, but America in general, I mean, you see a billboard and it's, where's the next adult store? It'll literally have a billboard. I mean, you can't even go down a highway without
Sure.
being like objectified. So for me, it's just such a breath of fresh air. And I think every single woman, every single Muslim, every single Reaver, you have to understand what the foundation culturally looks like and feels like,
Right.
and then come here and then, because that's the thing is I think a lot of Muslims we feel like, well, let's create under the guides of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but let's in the Quran, but let's create our version of what a Muslim culture is based on our environment here. And it's just not the same. It's never gonna be
Sure.
the same. And I
Right.
really encourage people to go and travel, and not a week. You can't really feel it in a week. You need 2 weeks, and you need to push yourself to get out. Don't just hang out at the hotel. Don't just do excursions. Go and be around the locals. Go walk in the souks. For me, it's something. Me and
Yeah.
my family, we hunger. We go back. We're like once a year
Alhamdulillah.
we have to. We can't stay in America all year.
No,
Like,
that's a huge gift. I love that. I really love that, man. And I will say there is a focus, particularly with like communities, immigrant communities in America, to go back home. I'm fortunate that like our
yeah,
parents, my dad was big on, whenever we could, we'd go back to Sudan,
yeah,
Saudi, where I was born actually.
yeah.
We go,
Wow.
and Saudi is a unique place because we have family there. It isn't necessarily our home, you know what I
No.
mean? But Sudan very much feels like home, I would love to go see like I've never been to Eritrea. That would be beautiful.
Amazing.
Uh,
Okay.
I'd love to see that inshallah one day. Ethiopia, and just more of the world. And what I loved about being in Morocco is like it does feel kind of like you're in the middle of the world because you see varying ethnic groups. You'll see people from all over the world. It kind of reminded me of South Africa. I went to South Africa about 10 years ago, and there's a huge diverse Muslim population as well, and I really love that.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yeah.
thinking like this is the most diverse place I've ever been to. And Morocco's not on South Africa's level with diversity, but
No.
there is. But you will see like West Africans now. You'll see
Yeah.
like folks
You'll
from
see
Senegal.
Moroccans as dark as you.
SubhanAllah, yeah, there's exactly varying representations,
Yeah.
different tribes and stuff. So,
More so my complexion, but you'll see every now and then, like you'll see like dark Moroccans, but a lot of Senegalese hang out in Morocco, so
yeah,
it's a
alhamdulillah. So,
beautiful place.
it is
Yeah.
beautiful, and I've been so fortunate to really feel to go from like having no context or know nothing about the country to
It's
now be intricately connected, and inshallah we'll have children that are connected. You know what I mean? Like I not only feel a kinship to Morocco, but now I'm like, how do I stay connected? How do I build something
yeah.
so that my kids feel connected? The way that my father, Allah yarhamu, made it so that I felt so connected to back home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
really fortunate for that. So
Inshallah khair. What's really interesting is that I'm single and he's married. He just got married
alhamdulillah,
to a long distance lover in Maghreb in Morocco. Tell us
mashallah.
a little bit about that because we're going to touch on it in episodes to come. But what was that process like? And literally, like, tell us about the fact that you found the love of your life, inshallah khair.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm equally really excited to be on this project with you, Kalima, because I feel like these are conversations we need to be having,
Yeah,
and so few of the times these conversations are happening between men and women. You know what I mean? I feel like
yeah,
sisters talk to sisters, brothers talk to brothers, and we need to kind of start to collaborate on these bigger conversations. So yeah, real blessed to be here. Alhamdulillah. And shout out to Spirit Airlines. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what's going to get me back and forth from the Bay Area to LA, to make sure we can get some in-person time and really build out this beautiful project. So, yeah, so a little bit about me. I did, alhamdulillah, recently get married. I got married in 2023. And I had just kind of decided, alhamdulillah, like I will say like before getting married, I had been preparing myself for marriage, right? And
mm,
preparations look different for everybody, but for me, there was like a deep dive in the self-reflection. That was a big part of it, you know. I feel like that was the biggest part of my preparation was like really doing the personal work of saying like, are you someone who is ready to be married? And it's a question I can only answer for myself.
mm.
Alhamdulillah. But yeah, I was overseas. I was in Sweden, and went out there for a cousin's wedding. And while I was there, I had signed up for Muzz Match like a couple months earlier, but had barely used the app.
Wow.
And I was just out there. I was out there for the wedding. It was the night before I was gonna leave. Um, it was the night before I was gonna leave. I decided, like, you know what? I'm in this hotel.
Wow.
I should be sleeping, getting ready for my flight in the morning. But I was like, what would it be like, if I just like turn the app on here? You know what I'm saying? Like for kicks, subhanAllah. And I didn't realize that I don't know how the location settings were set up, but I imagine I didn't have them limited. And subhanAllah, I'd say within 10 minutes of being on the app, I like found,
A
this
baddie in
person.
Maghrib. That's
Bro, I just, because, I was in the southern part of Sweden, which is like pretty close, right?
wow.
Miles
I didn't
wise,
even
it was
know
close enough
that.
to North Africa. SubhanAllah. So, I still don't fully understand that part of it, to be honest. The like, the
But see,
closeness.
when Allah says yes, can't nobody say no.
Listen,
And
that's it.
I try to tell people all the time, stop putting your radius on 50-mile radius. Your soulmate may not be in your city, they may not be in your state. I'll tell you, I've made a habit. I love to travel, you guys. I've made a habit to swipe when I travel because I know that I've lived in LA for 8 years. If you know, you know it's one of the hardest places to find a mate, but
Correct.
California is very very large. A lot of times, I might San Diego has a great Muslim community. I've matched some people. Do they make the hike over to LA? No. Do I make the hike over San Diego? So sometimes it's about a cultural difference. For me, I would love someone who's from a Muslim country. So totally, I've made a habit to swipe when I'm out of the country, and that is just so amazing. Also, Moroccan women are freaking stunning. So you
MashaAllah.
were swiping, you saw that, and you said, "Let me go ahead swipe right." Was it her profile? Like, what was it about?
It it just was like I mean her profile to a degree.
Okay.
If I'm being candid, I don't remember exactly what it said.
And she
You know what I
spoke
mean?
English in her profile, or did she?
In her profile, she did. Yeah, she spoke
Okay.
English, and then we matched. I swiped on her. She then swiped on me, presumably.
Yeah.
But then we started chatting like pretty immediately, right after matching.
Yeah.
This is all in that same evening,
It's crazy.
and I think within 10 minutes of texting via the app, right?
Mhm.
I was like, "Yo, do you want a video chat?" Because like, yeah, immediately. I'll be honest, because
And you're Eritrean,
I mean,
so
yes.
you speak a little Arabic. Did you guys speak in Arabic first, or
No, no, interestingly, we spoke in English.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So I speak Arabic conversationally,
Yeah.
but not the strongest, arguably, right?
Yeah. But
And
the thing is, in Morocco, if you speak English, you definitely went to a really good school and probably came from a really good family, like immediately. So I have a lot of really good family friends in Morocco. So yeah.
that's a really beautiful connection that we've made, alhamdulillah. And then
Yeah.
you also have like a deep dive. Well, and see, that's another beautiful thing, like that I like to talk about. Like prior to meeting her, and I'll get back to that story in a second. If you would ask me like top 5 places you want to travel, Morocco was not on the list. If you would ask me, if you had made that statement about Moroccan women being beautiful, I'd be like, I didn't know that. And I would have
Oh,
been honest. I would have been, see, this is the thing, subhanAllah, like I really believe like trust in Allah is so important because I wasn't looking for her, right? She wasn't looking for me.
it's
I
amazing.
wasn't looking in her part of the world. Like I really just wasn't. Like it wasn't, as a matter of fact, and this is like the beauty of this podcast, we keep it real. I remember times where brothers would come to me and saying like, "Oh, I'm thinking about marrying someone overseas or in a different state," and I'd be like, "Bro, that sounds hard." Like I
Long
was the
distance
guy.
ain't easy. It's not.
Yo, I'd be the one to tell other people honestly, right? Like,
Yeah.
that sounds like that would be challenging because that's how I saw things, subhanAllah, in my mind at least. But yeah, we got on the video chat and we started chatting, and like via video, and we hung out, and I was like, "Yo, I'm out here in Sweden for this wedding. I'm leaving tomorrow back to the States, like just so you know, like I really enjoy talking to you, but I just don't know how practical this is."
Yeah.
And then her response was like, Allah knows best. So like if we're meant to be, we will be. If we're not, we're
Yeah.
not. So like I'm not tripping, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to tell y'all when you go North African, you really don't go back because there is like a beauty in their consciousness of Islam, but it's I don't know, I just feel like it's a family oriented place that is just totally like it's interesting that that response for you made you feel so at home, so calm, and so grateful to know that she's not putting pressure and she knows that whatever Allah wills is best. And that was such a gem for you, because that would be for me because we don't hear it too much over here.
No, no,
You
and
know?
she was just so like there was just this sincere, natural confidence. I
Yeah,
feel like where she kind of was just present in that
yeah,
conversation, and I
yeah,
felt very present, alhamdulillah. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And even ending up in Sweden, that's a story for another day. Like
Yes,
it was like I fought not to go to that wedding because timing for me. I just come back from being in Saudi earlier in the year, and I didn't think my work would allow me the time off. But alhamdulillah, like Allah is the best of planners. I ended up out there, and more on that later. But I told her like, look, I'm just here for the night, or I only have this night left. I've been here for 5 days, so I'm heading back, and we basically live in different continents, right? Like very front. I was very much like, just so you know, this is what's
let's lay
real.
this out. Right.
Yeah, and she was like, Allah knows best. If we're meant to be, we will be, kind of, right? So the next day, I wake up in the morning, get on the plane, come back to the States, come back to work, and I'd say like a couple days after getting back, oh yeah, we had exchanged numbers, WhatsApp, and a couple days later, I get a text from her saying like, Inshallah, you arrived safely, and I said, I did, Alhamdulillah, thank you for checking in. And Sister Kalima, the rest is history. We started to talk every day, and the conversation from the beginning was about marriage. Like, I remember literally our first text exchange when I got back to the States was like, hey, I said to her, just so you know, I'm serious about marriage. And she was like, me too. And then every conversation we had after that, every action taken by her and by me was sincerely reflective of that statement. You know what I'm
Amazing,
saying?
amazing. And like you said, not only setting that intention, but being conscious about it in the conversations. I think I don't want to, and you guys comment below. Sometimes I feel like Western society, it's not that Muslims don't think that way, but Western society reminds you that you don't have to be like, let's figure it out as we go along. Let's see, I don't have to just talk to one person. I can continue to swipe and see. I think that there's this lack of consciousness of like getting back to that commitment and figuring out what that means. I don't know. I just feel like it's just different. But I don't know, I feel like when you're talking to someone who's very, who's in a full environment that's constantly reminding you that you don't play around, and when you're talking about marriage, you continue to ask questions about future, ask questions about lifestyle, like, then it becomes more serious. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I do. I want to definitely co-sign what you're saying. If the intention continues to be marriage, then every conversation you're having with that person becomes about this potential collective future. You know what I
So
mean?
at what point did you talk to her dad, or did she ever say, "Hey,
Yeah.
now it's time"?
Inshallah, by now you've given this a thumbs up and you're ready to subscribe. Because this nikah doesn't have to end here. Plus, there's always more ways to chill, like grabbing our exclusive nikah and chill merchandise.
Get your Ramadan and Me Kids journal featuring Quranic quotes, Ramadan bingo, puzzles, and more.
For ages 5 and up, great for friends and family to play every year.
Let's Ramadoo this.
Now it's time, or
Yeah, now it's time. Like, I not just her dad, but like connecting
her
my
family?
mom with her mom.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My father, Allah yarhamu, he has passed away. So he's not with us, alhamdulillah. That was a lost timing and pleasure. And we embrace it. But it would have been lovely to have my father there as well. But dealing with the consequences of the circumstances that we have, alhamdulillah, I connected my mom with her mom so that they can have those conversations. And they had conversations I don't know anything about. I would never ask about, just like the work that a mother will do with another mother. So
Mm,
I'd say a month in to us talking, I was like, okay, even though I don't know how, right? Because
that's
it's different
amazing.
continents, I don't know how, but this is potentially my person. I feel very strongly about this.
Okay.
I prayed Salat Istikhara. So then I was like, whatever obstacles are in front of us, Allah is going to remove. Like, I just needed to keep on, or do I feel like I'm in this thing right now? Like,
Yeah.
not having to figure out the how or the where or the when of the marriage or whatever, right?
Wow.
I just was like, is this still real for you? Does this still feel sincere?
Yeah.
And I was literally asking myself daily because we would talk daily, you know what I mean? And yeah, a month in, I was like, okay, it's time to get my mom to like know what's up. And I'd say like 2 months in was when we're like, okay, we're serious about this. We want to be married.
Interesting.
So I'd say like we met July of 2023 and we got married in October. So 4 months, you know what I mean?
Wow.
From beginning to
Yeah.
end.
And
Yeah.
and so sometimes it's one of those things where it's like, if it just so happens to get super serious in 30 days, now it's time. But then it's like, that's what I mean by like sometimes Western society, most of us are introducing our parents to each other in 30 days. And I don't know if it's because it just didn't get serious that quick, or if it was just because there's a lack of consciousness and commitment of like, where are we at 30 at our 30-day point? You know,
Yeah.
which is really interesting because, as you know, there's this new format, this formula that we're hearing is being introduced of 300 questions in 3 months. I really do think that 3 months is a great standard time because you do learn a lot in 30 days. But I
Right.
think me and you were communicators, so we're going to learn a lot in 30 days
We
from
we
our
we
person.
will, and you bring up an excellent point. Realizing what it is that you need, right? Part of like today's discussion, we were talking about dating ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I used to think the concept of dating yourself was cliche, like what does that even mean, But
Yeah.
I realize it means asking yourself the tough questions, having
Mm.
answers for like what are your particular needs in a marriage? Like you yourself, like how do you show up in relationships? What are you aspiring to be? What levels of personal responsibility are you ready to take on? A lot of times we talk about what we want, but not what we're willing to give. Where
Ooh.
are you where are you willing to be a man if you're a man looking for marriage? Where are you willing to be a woman? Like, what do you see your responsibilities as? You know what I mean? And
Oh, I
you know what I mean?
absolutely love that. And let's definitely get into this conversation. As you guys can see the title here, How to Date Yourself to Get Married. What does it mean to date yourself? And 100%, you really nailed it on the head. Being conscious of who you are as a dater, as a lover, but also showing up as that. Because
Yes.
I mean, people hate the word manifestation, but if you have your parents, right? They say your first example of love is your parents. So if you have your parents as an example of what love is, or maybe it's your uncle or maybe it's your cousin where you're like, this is my example of love. Are you truly showing up as that? Are you being honest with yourself to say, this is where I want to be and I'm not there yet?
Yeah.
Or let me go ahead and breathe it. I might not have that bankroll. I might not have that bank account like my uncle or my dad or my mom, but I'm gonna I'm gonna walk upon this life so that I attract that woman that understands and appreciates that part of me that is yet to come. Because I believe that when you show up like that, whether it's there or not, it's just gonna come and it's gonna attract you because that's the energy that you're putting out.
a hundred
So yeah,
percent.
speak on that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw this meme once that I thought was really funny. I like real silly things. And this meme it said, "Be honest, you're a liar." you know? So
Wow.
I think a lot of people at some point, like self included, there was a time where this applied to me, I'll be honest, where like we're out here looking for something and it's like, what are you really about though? Like what are you lack a sincerity in yourself. Okay. And how do you know whether you lack a sincerity when something doesn't work out? Where does
Mm,
your attention go? Are you blaming? Are you
mm,
pointing fingers, right? Like Prior to meeting my wife, I courted other women with the intention of marriage. And anytime it didn't work out, even if it was a bit challenging, I remember feeling every single time, Alhamdulillah, because this had to end in order for my nasib to show up. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It's
mm.
almost like you got to take the medicine to feel the cure. You know what I mean? And knowing my wife now, she is the cure. You know what I mean? Alhamdulillah, she is everything
I,
I could have ever
I
imagined.
feel like that's what it should be.
And I
Your
had to
spouse should feel like a cure.
Alhamdulillah, and I had to, so I'm grateful to every person I've met on the journey that got me to her. You know what I
Ooh,
mean? Every single person, you know what I mean? So
alhamdulillah.
so so I think we need to be
That takes
on.
a level of consciousness to know that you had to go through that. I think a lot of, and that's another thing I've mentioned to you several times, is that sometimes that first marriage really is a trial run. You've been married before. I've
Yes.
had I've had nikah for a couple months. A lot of you guys know. I mean, we never even lived together, so I'm always like, does it count? Because I don't really know like a real marriage lifestyle. But at the same time, yeah, like it had to happen for me to become who I am and trusting the process, especially as women, we feel expired. We feel like, oh, I never found anyone after that first one. I have a kid now. There's so many different things that makes us feel like, well, what if I look at it on an optimistic side that like I had to go through that. I had to have a kid. Like I had to like lose that job and get another like become a stay-at-home mom that makes money online. Like sometimes we have to look at it in a different way because it can bring us to a different level of who we are to attract a person that's ready for who we are today.
100%, sister. And I think we look to others for understanding our own value.
Mm,
But I feel like the only source, right? You want to know what your value should be, like listen to what your Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said. Listen to what Allah has said. That is the barometer, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Of
Yeah.
what it means to be a wife, a woman, a husband, a mother, a brother, you know what I mean? A spouse.
Hmm, hmm.
How do the Sahaba do courtship? Like, how do they approach marriage? How do they approach divorce? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? These were things that were not dishonorable, right?
Mhm.
So I think a lot. There's a lot out in the world with social media that's making us believe that somehow we're altered, and then we repeat those things to one another, and that's the hardship. You know
Mhm,
what I mean? Like
mhm.
we shouldn't be telling each other that there's something wrong with us because of our circumstances. You know what I mean? So I love to hear about brothers who marry sisters who have kids, or people
Me
who
too.
marry varying ages, right?
Yeah.
Because we need to break away from our conventional thinking that is not Islamic. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because something is conventional, it doesn't mean that it's Islamic. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and people are looking for safe experiences, but it's like safety is with Allah. You know what I mean? Like, so I really feel like, yeah, we need to move away from that. And I love to hear when people are moving away from that. So.
Period.
For more from this interview and other exclusive chill content, subscribe and follow Nikah and Chill everywhere now.